Students, today we're going to talk about genus and species, how to write them properly. We're going to talk about what is a cultivar, and then what is that L that you see a lot of times after a genus and species name. So as a clue, here we've got a bunch of apples in the grocery store. Those are all apples, but they are different cultivars. They're all the same species, they're all the same genus and species, but human beings have selected for apples that are special or different. So these have all been selected for appearance in the grocery store, for good taste, right? Things that keep well and ship well, so that they're nice and juicy and crisp when we get them. Taxonomy is how we group living things. So all these examples of produce in the grocery store are representing species, different and different taxa, different clades. For example, there you've got eggplant and pepper. Those are closely related. They're all in the family Solanaceae. And in this picture, we've got everything. All of these things are in the plant kingdom. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about taxonomy today. I want to focus on genus and species for the most part. We're looking here. Do know that of the kingdoms, each kingdom is separated based on a characteristic. Plants are separated from animals and fungi by the method of getting food. Plants make their own food, capturing sunlight energy. Animals ingest their food or eat it, and fungi, for the most part, digest food outside their bodies. They excrete digestive enzymes, and so they do their digestion on the outside and absorb the broken down nutrients, their building blocks. Today we're going to focus on genus and species. Here we are. Solanum is the genus. Solanum lycopersicum is the species. Anybody know what this is? It's a plant. It's in the angiosperm, so that means it's a flowering plant. It's a eudicot. Mostly we call those dicots. That means that when it emerges from the seed, it's got two seed leaves, or cotyledons. It's got two cotyledons, diphragma. Solanales is the order. Family is Solanaceae. I left out a bunch of stuff here, and if you go on Wikipedia, you'll see some more divisions, some more clades in here. That just means that there's too many species to easily group. There's too many differences and too much diversity in the plant kingdom to easily fit into that kingdom, phylum, class, order, species, genus, species thing. Does anybody know what this species is? It is a tomato, right? And you may see this under other names. You may see it under Lycopersicum esculentum. And this is a Roma tomato. This is a particular type of tomato. All right, so there's our genus and species, Solanum lycopersicum. These are different names for the same thing. So currently we are using Solanum lycopersicum. I learned it as Lycopersicum esculentum. Right? Some people are calling it Lycopersicum lycopersicum. Try not to let that throw you when you're looking for genus and species of a plant or animal. Try to use the current name. And you may be thinking, well, why do these change? Well, they change because they may have found an older reference to the name, or somebody may be regrouping the species based on DNA evidence. And that's kind of another topic. We won't spend too much time on that. You may also have noticed this L, and we will talk about that in a minute here. So we've got our Solanum lycopersicum. Within that genus and species, we have many cultivars. Cultivars are cultivated varieties. So look at cultivar. as a cultivated variety. These are all tomatoes, but they have different names. This is even within a group. In tomatoes, there's so many tomatoes. I just got the seed catalog today. There are some tomato cultivars. These tomatoes go on for pages and pages. We have hundreds of cultivars of tomato. And those are grouped into the Romas, which are good for making spaghetti sauce or sun-dried tomatoes. We have our beefsteak, which are the large that you can slice. We've got cherry tomatoes that we like to just eat as a snack or put on our nachos. So we've got lots and lots of different types of tomatoes. We've got lots and lots of different types of roses. And within each of those, we even have cultivars. So these are named. We can almost think of them like a brand. So most of these are developed by a plant breeder, and they're sold in the seed catalogs under their cultivar name. Some may have disease resistance, some may be hybrids, some may be open pollinated. We'll save all of that for another lecture. So these are all cultivars of Roma tomatoes. We've got Viva Italy, La Roma 2, Super Marzano, and San Marzano. All good for spaghetti sauce, tomato paste, and sun drying. So at this point, we've abbreviated our genus name to a capital S, and we have our species name, Lycopersicum, right there. If you are typing on the computer, you're going to capitalize your genus, you're going to include your species name, and these will be in italics. The genus and species will be in italics. After you have stated the genus name in your paper, you may after that abbreviate it to just the S instead of writing out that solanum each time. And then our cultivar name is going to be in quotes. That's in quote marks. So when you see quote marks, that's indicating a cultivar name. These are developed, as I said, by plant breeders, and you'll see them advertised in the seed catalogs and in the grocery store, particularly for apples and pears. Citrus fruit, you'll see the cultivar name. So if you see Gold Nugget Tangerine, that's a cultivar name. There are also brand names in some of the citrus. Let's look at apples for a minute. We mentioned them previously. Malus is the genus. Domestica is the species. Genus, Malus, Domestica is the species. And this is an abbreviation for the author, right? So this represents the person that named the genus and species. So if we're writing this out properly, we've got our genus and species in italics. We have the author, and we have the cultivar, in this case Fuji, in quotes. And if we go to the grocery store, this is what we see. It happens to be one of my favorite tomatoes. And likewise, we have the Granny Smith, same genus and species, but a different cultivar. So you can recognize these in the grocery store. They're visibly different. A lot of people like Granny Smith apple. So we mentioned the L. What is the L all about? So that is also referring to the author. And this guy, Carolus Linnaeus, named many, many, many plants. And so that's why you'll see the L after so very many plants, and that they just abbreviate it to L, and you're going to know who it is. Other authors would get either the full last name or an abbreviated last name. Salvia officinalis. Salvia officinalis. Still in Italian, the word salvia means sage. So this is garden sage. This is the herb that you would put in your Thanksgiving stuffing, that you might grow in your garden, that you can purchase in a plant nursery. There you see it. Garden sage is the common name, and Salvia officinalis is the genus and species. So we've capitalized Salvia. Officinalis is not capitalized. So you'll see that officinalis quite often, and it is similar to the word domestica. It means of the shops or of the offices, right? So when Linnaeus named this, it was an herb or plant that you could find in the market. Their markets were different than ours are now, but this is the same plant that we're using, same as 200 years ago. So officinalis means of the offices or of the shops, and you'll see that after other names too. And most of these you can go to the spice aisle in your grocery store and purchase it. So here's a sculpture of Carolus Linnaeus. He lived in the 18th century, and he named a great number of plants. There we are, 1707 to 1778, and the sculpture shows him reaching for a plant. He named things that he found. He also named things that other explorers found and brought to him. He lived in Sweden. You can find a lot more information about him. I am certainly not going to go through a long explanation of Carolus Linnaeus. He did Latinize his name, right? So he used the rules of the Latin language to name the species. All right, that's enough for now. We'll have more taxonomy in other mini lectures. See you soon.